Hello and welcome to quarantine. Because we can't go outside since we're supposed to be social distancing, something that I'm very good at. So here we are, and I was looking around and I thought, there's a lot of PlayStation 4 exclusive tier lists for the PlayStation 4, but not for the PlayStation 3. And I love the PlayStation 3, so I thought we need one of those, And here we have 67 titles. Now, some of them have been ported over to the PlayStation 4. However, when I experienced them, they were PlayStation 3 exclusive, so I decided to put them on here. And let's jump right in. And the first one we have is 3D Game Heroes, which is a Legend of Zelda homage, a little top-down game, and it was lots of fun. I'll put it solid B. Beyond Two Souls. Beyond Two Souls, I played the demo, and there's one section where if you put the controller down, it just goes on, you make all these mistakes and the game doesn't really matter. It doesn't care, and it just completes the level for you. And that's not great. Crash Commando was a downloadable only title. It's a little game, but it was a fun little game. I'll put it at a C. But our first S is Demon Souls. Terrific game, as you all should know, right? Drakengard. Now, I actually haven't played Drakengard. I did buy it on a sale recently, so I'll put it at B. I have heard good things, but have not played it yet. I should get around to it, though. Folklore. I've only played a fraction of the game through the demo, and I loved it. It was terrific. I'm going to put it at S. I have the game, and I should really get to it. But the little bit that I tried, I thought it was terrific. Formula 1 Championship Edition. This is like a simulation racing game. I'll put it at C. It was alright, Now, God of War. I'm not really a fan of PlayStation's big franchises. I like they're more niche and like smaller franchises. I feel like that's what really drives PlayStation for me. So, not really a big fan of God of War. Put the third one at C, and then Ascension at D. I tried the demo, was not really into Ascension. Go Sports Ski. This is another downloadable only title. It's very small, very short, not much to do. But I felt like it was, the bit that you do get to do, I thought it was fun. So, again, let's put it at B. Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo, another big PlayStation franchise. Yeah, not really a fan. Another simulation racing game. Put it at C, and then 6 at D. I barely even paid attention to 6. Like, it came out at the end of the life cycle, right before the PlayStation 4. And I feel like not many people really did pay attention to it. I don't really know why they released it. Haze. Haze was a pretty bad game. I mean, but it had a good concept, and the mechanics weren't that bad. So, even though it was pretty bad, let's put it at D. There is some enjoyment to be found here. Heavenly Sword. Heavenly Sword is like God of War. It's another hack and slash. And it came out kind of like, I think it was a launch title. I actually had more fun with this one. I'll put it at B. And I feel like the issue with these games are that like other like top tier hack and slash like Devil May Cry, those really outshine these titles for me, and I'd rather just be playing Devil May Cry. Heavenly Sword. I feel this is one of the better Quantum Theory games, and it did have a bit more to do, and it had the Jason meme, so it was pretty good. Place it at B. Infamous. Infamous is, I think, like a premier like franchise for PlayStation. Like there haven't been that many games, but Sucker Punch is just a really good developer, and I'm gonna place the first one S tier. Fantastic game. I don't know what happened in the second one. The second one I did not enjoy as much. I'll place that at B. It's very great that they made Second Son to kind of redeem Infamous, because I don't really know what happened with 1 and 2, but the first one is really a terrific game. And Invizimals, we talked about this one on the PlayStation 3 3D platformers list, and it was a fun game, great. I'm going to put it at A. Journey. Now, I know that a lot of people really enjoyed Journey. I did enjoy it, but I don't think I really got that same thing as other people might have. I'm going to place it at A, even though I know for a lot of people this is an S tier game. Killzone. This is another somewhat big franchise. I say somewhat because I don't it always tried to be a Halo killer, and it was never anything close to that. And Shadowfall was terrible. So let's place this one at D. Lair. This is another game that I haven't played yet. I really want to try it though. I feel like it struggled when it came out because it had the motion controls. When you were flying the dragon, you could only fly it via motion controls, and they didn't really work. The team eventually released a patch where you can now control it with the thumbsticks, but it was too late. However, I really am interested in trying out this game. I'm going to place it at B. I think it has lots of potential, especially now that you can play it with the controller only. And Littlebigplanet. Littlebigplanet is a really nice little franchise. I'm going to put the first one at A. I thought it really made a big splash when it came out. I really enjoyed that one. And the second one, I don't really remember playing it. I mean, the problem with that one is that the Littlebigplanet 2 and 3 have nothing different than the first one, in my opinion. It's kind of the same thing. I don't really see what has evolved. I really wish that they would have made Littlebigplanet 3 a 3D platformer. That would have been something really interesting, and us being able to make levels in 3D would have been something new. But maybe next one, please. But Littlebigplanet karting was something different that the franchise did. Placed it at an A. That was a really fun little karting game. It has split screen, so you could enjoy it with friends. I've enjoyed it with friends. And Medieval Moves. This is a move game. I don't really have space for move. This is my space right here. I don't have space for move. But whenever I do have space, I do want to try it out. I'm going to place it in the B. It should be a fun little diversion, Metal Gear Solid. I actually have not gotten into Metal Gear Solid. I have not played the games. It's such a shame because it's a big PlayStation franchise, even though now it's gone multi-platform. But I still, I really want to get into it, and I was never able to growing up. But this is something that, I have to get into and, have to try out. Motorstorm I thought was great. S, these are really fun, arcadey type racing games. There's also Apocalypse. I haven't played Apocalypse. My brother has it. I think he enjoyed it, so that one would kind of go in the same range. But Motorstorm 1 and Motorstorm Pacific Rift were really fun games. The first one didn't have split screen, the second one did. So I like that about the second one, but I think the first one really had a really good, really enjoyable mechanics. And yeah, great racing games. Ni no Kuni. Ni no Kuni I think is my brother's favorite game, or one of them. And he talks about it all the time, tells me to try it. I haven't gotten around to it, but he talks so much about it, and he loves the second one as well, so put that one in S. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. This was a very big missed opportunity. There's a lot of things, the roster was very poor. But the thing is, you can have fun in a party type setting. This is another game that I played with friends here. We all had a blast, so you can have fun with this game. PlayStation Heroes, another move game. Placed it at B. It's probably another fun little diversion. Genji was a launch title, and it was alright. It did a decent job of showing off the PlayStation, and if you there's this massive enemy crab, you hit it in its weak spot for massive damage. Puppeteer is a very underrated platformer. I think it's better than Littlebigplanet. It was a very well-made game, but it flew under the radar. Not a lot of people, heard of it or talk about it, and it's very sad because it's very underrated. Rain was a downloadable only title, and it's a narrative-driven game, and I thought it really did its job really well. Had a nice little story. It's short, but you really feel this little story was something that it was good that you played through it. And I've gone to Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank is PlayStation's best franchise in my opinion. All these games are S. Look at this, S, all this fantastic stuff, all for one.
was something that I felt was really underrated because, like, yeah, they went for something different. They wanted to play multiplayer, and they've done it better, like in Deadlock. But I thought, it was a fun game. Into the Nexus was cut short, which is a shame because I felt like that could have been like the next big, great Ratchet and Clank game. Full Frontal Assault had some issues. We'll put it in A, but I think it was still very enjoyable. And yeah, another great generation. And PlayStation totally squandered it with PlayStation 4 and the remake. That was terrible. Terrible. You should be ashamed. And now we've gotten to another franchise by Insomniac Games, Resistance. Now, Fall of Man was terrific. Resistance 2 kind of started following trends, so we'll place it down at B. And then Resistance 3 kind of came back to what the original was. But you killed off Hale. How do you kill off Hale in a trilogy? Like, you could have had, like, Chimera Hale in Resistance 3. Like, the possibilities were endless. Now we have Ridge Racer! Alright. It was very mediocre. We'll put it at C. But hey, they tried. Now, Siren. I'm not good with horror games. I remember I played Silent Hill, and I stopped after anything spooky happened. I was just out. I played PT, and also I was like, oh my god, I can't do this. So I'm not good with horror games. But, it was a good horror game. We'll put it up at B. And now we got Sly Cooper. Now, this was a pretty good game. Not as good as the PS2 originals, but we'll place it up in A. Socom 4. I'm not well versed in Socom. I know that this one was not as tactical as the first ones, but I thought it was a fun, game. And I really need to get into the other ones to see what exactly I missed. So we'll put this one at B. Sports Champions. Again, move games. I don't have move, but they're probably fun diversions. Starhawk. I'd rather have Warhawk. So we'll place this one down. Let's say either C or D. We'll place it down at D. It was not that great. The Last Guy. Now, The Last Guy was another small, download only title. It's a fun little game. We'll put it at C. Last of Us. Here it is again, another big franchise. And I think I just swam against the stream on this one because I didn't really want to play it. All I heard was a story, and I didn't really care. So I'm going to put this one at C. If you want, you can comment below. Tell me, why should I try out this game? I don't really want to, and I don't really have interest, but let me know below. Unfinished Swan. Unfinished Swan was a terrific game. I think this one really S-rank what it did, like the way that it, did something new, I feel, and the story was like a storybook telling, little kid's story. And it was just really interesting all around. And I think it's a really terrific game. It also got ported over to the PlayStation 4, so you can either try it out here or the PlayStation 4. The Witch and the 100 Knight was an interesting little game. We'll place it at A. I thought it was really underrated. And yeah, just a fun little game. Time and Eternity. Time and Eternity, it tried to do something different. And, it did succeed in certain points, but also it had problems in other points. But, once you get the hang of the combat, you understand, what they were going for. And even though, they don't always hit what they were going for all the time, I feel like it was an interesting mark. And we'll put it at B. Time Crisis, another PlayStation Move game. I mean, you could play it with the controller, but I feel like to get the best experience of being in an arcade, you need the gun accessory for the PlayStation Move to really be like it's an arcade game. So we'll put it at B. Tokyo Jungle. Tokyo Jungle was a little downloadable only game. It didn't really appeal to me, but it has appealed to other people, and other people have talked about it being very underrated. So we'll place it at B. Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal was not the greatest comeback for this series. We'll put it at C. It was very I don't know, it's just very, it didn't really feel as bombastic as it could have. And the story also, you know, going through the story mode of the game, there were modes like the racing one where it's like it wasn't that great. So there were problems, and I really hope that they come back much more stronger in the next one. And we have Uncharted, another Naughty Dog franchise. I feel like just Naughty Dog and the way that they have approached games now, very narrative, very cinematic based. I'll put the first one at B and the other one two at C because I don't really like the cinematic platforming, all like the cinematic stuff where like, you know, you're walking and he's like struggling to walk, and it doesn't really do it for me, you know. So I'm gonna put those down at C. Under Siege was a very interesting little strategy game. It's another downloadable only title, but I thought it was, you know, a really good, interesting game. Place it at B. Dark Kingdom was, I believe it was a launch title, or it was very close to the launch because it's a bit janky, but it's, you know, it's a very interesting little hack and slash. I feel like I had more fun from this, even if it wasn't as fleshed out as Heavenly Rain or God of War. So I'm gonna put it at B. Warhawk. Now, Warhawk is leagues better than Starhawk. Also, we've talked about this on the channel with Goodbye to Warhawk, because this game is no longer playable because it was online only, which is a shame because I'm going to place it up in the A tier. I thought it was a really solid game. White Knight Chronicles. White Knight Chronicles is a JRPG, and I think the big things I remember from this is the music, I think, was really solid, and it had an interesting way of dealing with the combat. I'm going to place the first one at B, and I actually don't have the second one because the second one also includes kind of like, I think, not exactly remastered, but it was like they updated the graphics and they included it along with the second one. So I'm going to put the second one at B because I've heard it hasn't really changed from the first. So those are like in that range. And lastly is Yakuza. Now I only have Dead Souls on here because that's the only truly exclusive PS3 one left. The other ones have been ported over to the PS4, or also I believe they've also been ported to the PC. But Yakuza is a big PlayStation exclusive franchise that I have not played. I place this one at B. I mean, I've heard it's basically like Grand Theft Auto in Japan, but like with lots more mini games, an actual story. I think multiple different playable characters. So it seems very interesting, and it's kind of like zany and like the type of franchises that I like. But that's it. That's all the ones. So as you can see here, we have a big swarm up here in the S, A, and B. Not a lot in C or D, and we have no Fs. No games that were just so terrible that were Fs. And it's just, this is one of my favorite generations. This and the PS2 are, you know, combating a lot, but I really enjoy the PS3. I still use it like almost daily, you know, and it's just one of my favorite generations. And if you want to make your own lists, I actually have in the description below a link so you can go and you can make a list of your own, and let me know if you make a list. Like, I'm interested to see what people think of the games. Like, this is a lot of games, you know, to go through. So let me know what you think, and let me know what you think of the list, if you're gonna make the list, all that jazz. And have fun being inside. I'll probably go back to playing video games and catching up on stuff. What should I play next? Oh dear. Choices.